Well, I did my homework and I read this one before, but I was absolutely plastered, so I am doing the honors of reading it plastered again. Hopefully remembering some of the words, but anyway, this is The Tale of Big Boobs the Busty Bimbo by Citrus Recluse. Citrus Recluse. Whatever the fuck. It's some kind of... It's a lemon and a spider, right? Anyway, I'm going to read the description. Fluttershy is a sweet, unassuming sort. So when she gets a message from Sunset Shimmer saying she wants to make up for all the times she'd bullied her in the past, she chooses to believe it. But Sunset Shimmer has something much more wicked in mind. The world will say goodbye to Fluttershy and hello to Big Boobs the Busty Bimbo. Note: takes place in alternate version of the first Equestria Girls movie. Content warnings: breast expansion, bimbofication, oral and suggested inflation. That's a thing. Big boobs? Anyway, now, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy were walking down the street, passing the various stores inside a strip mall. Fluttershy held her phone up, rereading the messages she had got over and over. Maybe if she read it enough times, she would be able to dispel Dash's worries. Earlier this morning, Fluttershy had gotten text from their local school bully, Sunset Shimmer. The text said Sunset Shimmer wanted to meet Fluttershy at the local salon, and from there Sunset Shimmer would try to make up for all the times she bullied and belittled Fluttershy in the past. "Are you sure you want to do this, Fluttershy?" Rainbow Dash asked. "I bet you anything she's up to something." "Rainbow Dash, I've read Sunset's text 12 times," Fluttershy said. "I don't see anything in there that tells me it's a trick." Fluttershy showed Dash the text. It read, "Dear Fluttershy, lately I've been thinking a lot, and I've come to regret all the times I bullied you. You're such a sweet girl. You don't deserve to hear some of the things I said. If you like, come by the salon at the strip mall later today. If you show up, I'll start trying to make things up to you. Love, Sunset Shimmer." Well, yeah. What do you think she's gonna do? Right, P.S. this is actually bait for a trap so I can humiliate you? Plus, you gotta admit, the timing is a little suspicious. Sunset just happens to decide she wants to make things up to you as we're trying to help Twilight Sparkle run against her in the fall formal? Rainbow Dash was right to be suspicious. The annual fall formal dance was coming up, and Sunset Shimmer had been voted the prom queen every year up to now. But now, with the help of Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, and their other friends, the newcomer Twilight Sparkle stood a decent shot of knocking Sunset off her perch. At the same time this was happening, Sunset Shimmer also happened to decide she wanted to apologize to Twilight's friend and helper Fluttershy for past abuses. Now, what are the odds? "Maybe," Fluttershy said, "but I believe everyone deserves a second chance, don't you?" Rainbow Dash responded with scoffing again. "Yeah, sure. Just not Sunset Shimmer." They arrived at the salon. Sunset Shimmer was waiting for them, standing in the window and beaming at them. She smiled and waved and gestured to the door. Rainbow Dash didn't like it. Not one bit. She shot Sunset Shimmer a glare. "Yeah, well, if you want to walk headfirst into what's obviously a trap, be my guest. This is where I get off." Rainbow Dash turned and walked off. "Come find me for comfort and I told you so after she dumps a bucket of slime in your hair or something." Fluttershy nodded as Rainbow Dash left. Looking at Sunset Shimmer through the window, Fluttershy felt calmed by Sunset's bright, genuine smile. After all, her smile would be much darker and sinister if this was a trap, right? Fluttershy pushed open the door and went inside. "Fluttershy!" Sunset Shimmer ran up and embraced Fluttershy in a tight hug. "I'm so glad you could make it. I was worried you weren't going to come." Well, Rainbow Dash tried to talk me out of it," Fluttershy said with a nervous smile, "but I decided to give you a chance." "Aww." Sunset put her hands together and cooed. "That's so sweet." Fluttershy noticed something odd about the salon. "Where is everyone?" It was empty, devoid of any barbers or customers. All the seats were vacant, all the scissors left on their tables. Well, they're doing their own thing," Sunset Shimmer assured her. "As it turns out, my mom is friend with the owner, so with a little pouting and pleading, I managed to get the whole place reserved just for us." Okay. Fluttershy was forgiving and not really the one to question little details. The whole detective work was more Twilight's thing. But still, even she thought this was odd. Sunset Shimmer had reserved an entire salon? "I didn't know you could reserve an entire salon." "Can you even do that? Wouldn't they lose profits?" Fluttershy thought. "Come on." Sunset Shimmer grabbed Fluttershy by the hand and dragged her. Sunset threw Fluttershy into a chair, sending the chair into a tailspin. Fluttershy, now stuck in the chair, got a little dizzy. "We're going to start with me giving you an extreme makeover," Sunset declared, putting her hands together by her. "Doesn't that sound fun?" Okay, I guess," Fluttershy said. An extreme makeover wasn't the worst way for Sunset to begin her romance. Most girls adore this sort of thing, right? "Wait, you're not gonna draw things on my face or cut off all my hair, are you?" Sunset laughed. "No! I can see why you might think, you know, considering, but no." Sunset pulled out a golden stick. "Here, why don't you try this lip gloss?" Sunset twisted on the stick, producing a sloped protrusion. She put herself level with Fluttershy and drew the stick across Fluttershy's lips, making them pink and shiny. "How does that feel?" Fluttershy observed her lips in the mirror. They were a bright, bright shade of pink and glossy. The gloss made them appear luscious and larger than they actually were. "It's very, moist." The makeup made Fluttershy feel a little uncomfortable, but she could always wash it off afterward, couldn't she? Fluttershy tried to maneuver around Sunset Shimmer to see her reflection in the mirror. "No, don't use that mirror," Sunset said. "Here, use this one." Sunset Shimmer produced a flip-top hand mirror, the kind Rarity would carry around. Okay. Fluttershy didn't understand what was wrong with the salon mirror and why Sunset didn't want her using it, but she indulged Sunset Shimmer. She opened up the hand mirror and looked at herself. She drew a finger across her lips, feeling how soft and luscious the gloss made them. The mirror began shimmering and flashing a silver light. It was mesmerizing, blinking on and off at a fast pace which made it difficult for Fluttershy's brain to process. "Hey," Fluttershy said, What's that?" Fluttershy's eyes shrunk as her mouth hung open as the mirror put her into a trance. Sunset Shimmer flashed a thumbs up to someone outside. "Okay now." The door opened and in stepped a man wearing a janitorial uniform and a wicked smirk. Discord, the school janitor. See, Sunset Shimmer hadn't reserved the entire salon. She had Discord convince the entire staff to take the day off and reschedule all reservations for the day. He made a deal with Sunset Shimmer and was going to help her with her plan. When Sunset Shimmer asked why, Discord said it was because the plan made him laugh. And he was always after a good laugh. "Hey," Sunset said, crossing her arms. "You didn't hurt the staff when you had them take the day off, did you?" Discord chuckled. "No. What kind of cruel, sadistic monster do you take me for? They're all enjoying themselves, even if they're not, well, really themselves." Yeah, whatever. "Do you have the rope?" "Of course." Discord handed Sunset Shimmer little bits of rope. Sunset set to work, tying the ropes around Fluttershy's wrists and binding her to the chair. Sunset Shimmer reached over and closed the hand mirror. This freed Fluttershy from her trance. "Sunset?" Fluttershy asked, confused and dazed after coming out of the hypnosis. She looked around and saw Discord. Don't I know you from somewhere, aren't you? The school janitor? Yes, but that's not important, Discord said. Fluttershy tried to get out from her chair, only to find she couldn't move her arms. Looking down at the knots, Fluttershy jerked her arms, trying to break free. Sunset, what's going on? It's part of your extreme makeover, Fluttershy, Sunset explained. I guarantee you by the end of the day you'll be answering to the name Big Boobs. Big Boobs? Fluttershy asked. Sunset, I thought you said you weren't going to give me a humiliating makeover. I said I wouldn't draw things on your face and I wouldn't cut off your hair, and I won't. Sunset Shimmer, in a fit of pettiness, plucked a hair from Fluttershy's head. After all, who wants a bald Bimbo? Bimbo? Yes. Sunset Shimmer threw the hair over her shoulder. Big boobs, small brains, to wit, a victim of bimbofication, which is what you're going to be in a minute. Sunset Shimmer snapped her fingers. Let the expansion commence. Chuckling, Discord snapped his fingers. Stop! Fluttershy shouted before she felt something odd on her chest. Oh, what's happening to me? What's the matter, Big Boobs? We're just giving you your namesake. My name isn't Big Boobs, Fluttershy said, grunting and grimacing. It felt as though a sea of turmoil was roiling inside of her breasts. The waves reached up to the shore and sloshed up against the side of her breasts. Fluttershy looked down to see her breasts growing, expanding and pushing out against her dress. Her dress was not sized for breasts this big. Fluttershy moaned. This feels so good. Sunset Shimmer chuckled. She put her hands on Fluttershy's shoulder, massaging them and rubbing so Fluttershy's shoulder muscles could relax as Fluttershy was made to bear the extra weight of her growing orbs. Does that feel good, Big Boobs? Yes. Fluttershy was breathless. She watched in awe as her breasts rose like dough baking in the oven. Big Boobs the Busty Bimbo. Sunset Shimmer said, Has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Nice alliteration, Discord said. Bit of a mouthful, though. Yes. Fluttershy tilted her head back, resting on her neck on the back of her chairs. Her eyes widened as she gained a brief bout of self-conscious, aware she was doing exactly what Sunset Shimmer wanted her to. She bolted forward, though this still didn't break the ropes tying her down. I mean, no, it does not have a nice ring to it. No, it does not feel good. Whatever evil plan you have, Sunset Shimmer, it won't work. My friends will stop you. Maybe, Sunset Shimmer said. Or maybe they'll be overwhelmed by the sight of your big breasts. Maybe they'll lose control of their inhibitions. Maybe they won't be able to help themselves, and they'll reach over and do this. Sunset reached around the chair, groping Fluttershy's expanding breast. No! Fluttershy tried to ignore the tinge of pleasure Sunset's grope brought to her, but her breasts were so sensitive. My friends wouldn't do that. They wouldn't take advantage of me. They're kind to me. They're good people. Fluttershy remembered what Rainbow Dash on their way here. Yeah. Oh, why didn't she listen to Dash? Sunset Shimmer grabbed the chair and spun it around, bringing Fluttershy face to face with her. Ah, but that's the beauty of it. Either they'll turn out to be all lustful inside, or submit to their desire for your big boobs, or they'll figure out I did something and try to fix it. Either way, they'll be too busy to run their campaign for the fall formal, and I'll win. Just like I do every year. That's what this is about? You're doing this to me just so you can win the fall formal? Well, no. Not all of it, Sunset Shimmer said. Watching you struggle and submit to your big boobs getting bigger is also pretty satisfying, Big Boobs. Quit calling me Big Boobs. My name is Fluttershy, Fluttershy said through the urge to moan as she felt her breasts getting even bigger and bigger. Fluttershy watched in the mirror as her growing breasts began to lift her shirt up, exposing her midriff. I understand what you're trying to do, Fluttershy said. You're trying to condition me with a new name and a new identity to accept my fate as a bimbo. but aside from being a terrible thing to name someone in general, even for a bimbo, Big Boobs is very uncreative. Discord and Sunset looked at each other. You know, Discord rubbed his neck. She has a point. Shut up. Sunset Shimmer turned to Fluttershy. You know, Big Boobs, I can actually help you with this. Help me? Fluttershy asked, incredulous. How can you help me with this? I know you're always trying to get donations for the animal shelter, Sunset Shimmer said, but as Fluttershy, you can just never get anybody's attention. You're too quiet. As Big Boobs, however, you could get quite a few donations. A little shimmying, a little jiggling. Haven't you heard that sex sells? Sunset Shimmer went down and began rubbing Fluttershy's breasts. Fluttershy moaned, loving the touch of Sunset's soft, delicate fingers on her sensitive flesh. Her breasts were getting bigger and bigger with every second, every inch stimulating her frayed nerves more and more. Oh, you're getting so big-boobed, Sunset Shimmer said. Lots of guys and some girls will love playing with your big boobs. Big boobs? Sunset Shimmer had said it so many times, in such a small time frame, Fluttershy couldn't help but repeat it in her head. Big boobed, big boobs. Big boobed, big boobs. No, I have to resist. Can you imagine the tales the students will tell at bars? Sunset Shimmer said. Get around, folks, to hear the tale of Big Boobs the Busty Bimbo. It'll be just like Bigfoot, Discord said. Just, you know, with boobs. Sunset, Fluttershy groaned, looking at herself in the mirror. Her shirt was drawn up, exposing all of her belly, the entirety of the fabric dedicating itself to the losing fight with Fluttershy's increasing mountains. My shirt can't take much more of this, it's going to rip. So take it off, Sunset Shimmer said. She undid one knot, freeing Fluttershy's hand. Sunset could take Fluttershy's shirt off, but it was better for the process of the bimbofication if Fluttershy willingly did it herself. Not willing to risk the shirt being torn in half and needing to buy another one, Fluttershy reached up with her free hand and worked on pulling the shirt up over her body. She was able to get it up halfway, but she had to roll it around and peel it off the length of her bound arm to get the rest of it. Fluttershy dropped the shirt to the floor and looked at her bust in the mirror. The fact her brassiere was somehow still intact, for now, was nowhere near as amazing to Fluttershy as the size of her breasts now were. Look at them! Fluttershy screamed. I must be a J cup or more. Only J, Discord said. He rolled up his sleeves and marched forward, fists clenched. I can do better than that. Sunset Shimmer pushed Discord away from the chair. She had a good feeling Discord will take it too far if she let him. They were trying to make Fluttershy's breasts so big she couldn't think, not so big she couldn't walk. She tried to diffuse his anger with a chuckle. What does it matter what cup size they are anyway, as long as they're big, right? Besides, I'm sure Big Boobs, not you, can do better. Just give her a minute. My name isn't... Fluttershy moaned, closing her eyes. She wasn't sure how, but the growth of her breasts was somehow affecting her mind. There was nothing she could do. No action she could take to stop those expanding orbs messing with her head and making it hard to think. Just like Sunset Shimmer said, big boobs, small brain. All she could do was try to resist for a few minutes longer. Come on, Big Boobs. Sunset Shimmer grabbed Fluttershy's free hand and guided it to Fluttershy's breast. You know you like it. If you relax a little, it'll make the growth happen easier. Sunset made Fluttershy rub herself until Fluttershy succumbed and rubbed her breasts of her own accord. Sunset knew how the conditioning worked. With Fluttershy trapped in here, All Sunset had to do was keep stimulating her and keep calling her Big Boobs, and at some point Fluttershy would crack and accept it as her new name. Sunset Shimmer reached out and slipped her hand onto Fluttershy's garments. She ran her fingers over Fluttershy's tips, which proved the most sensitive part of her breasts. Fluttershy let out a whooping moan. Oh my! Fluttershy blushed at the sight of Fluttershy's bare ballooning boulders. That's a fucking thing. Bare ballooning boulders. Remember what I said earlier about your friends getting overwhelmed by the sight of your breasts? Well, I think I'm experiencing that myself. Sunset decided to help herself to Fluttershy's chest. She put herself by the chair, leaned in over, giving Fluttershy's boob a kiss. She suckled on the flesh, licked it and slurped it. Fluttershy's breasts were growing so much Sunset Shimmer's tongue was never on the same spot for long. Despite the situation she was in, Fluttershy was fluttered. Enjoying yourself, Sunset? Sunset blushed and put her tongue back in her mouth. Yeah. I'm sorry, Discord. Did you want to partake in this? No, that's fine. Discord sat in an empty salon chair, munching on some popcorn he's somehow got. I'll just be here, enjoying the show. Sunset Shimmer stood up, still looking at Fluttershy's breasts with a half-lidded, seductive look. The breasts grew and grew, stretching the fabric around them. The fleshy spheres increased in their diameter, growing so big and firm. Sunset licked her lips, tempted to go back to nursing them, but she had to stay in control of the situation. Fluttershy moaned as her breasts pushed out further and further. They're so big, Fluttershy moaned. So very big. I'm so big-boobed. Fluttershy rolled her head back and closed her eyes. How's that a thing? Remembering what Sunset told her. She took in a deep breath and tried to relax. Her breasts swelled up, pushed out a little further, and stopped, their growth reaching its peak. They were around the size of soccer balls when they were done. Sunset raised an eyebrow at this. She turned to Discord. See? I told you she just needed a minute. Sunset Shimmer spun the chair around, making Fluttershy go in a full rotation before stopping the chair with them face to face. How do you feel, Fluttershy? Fluttershy blinked and looked up at her. I'm sorry, I think you have me confused with someone else. My name is Big Boobs. Sunset smiled. Excellent. She went over to Discord and they shared a high five at their success. Before you go, I have one last gift for you, Big Boobs, Sunset Shimmer said. She walked into the back of the salon and came out holding a dark green brassiere, a perfect color match to the rest of Fluttershy's outfit. The brassiere glowed with green light as if enchanted, which it was. This is an enchanted brassiere, Sunset explained to Fluttershy as she swapped it with Fluttershy's brassiere. Why would you use this word 45,000 times? The enchanted one grew and stretched to accommodate Fluttershy's huge breasts. As you can see, it will grow and change itself to match your breasts. But there's another thing. Sunset Shimmer held the straps. When I buckle the straps, the magic will take a different form and make your breasts shrink back to their normal size, and you'll go back to being Fluttershy again. But that's not all. When someone calls you by the name Big Boobs, you'll go and find somewhere to take it off. You'll gasp and moan as your breasts get larger, and you'll change into something more suiting for your cup size. The Big Boobs personality will become dominant. Using your breasts, you'll try to please the person who called you Big Boobs as much as you can, in any way you can, before you go back to being Fluttershy. Understand? Fluttershy nodded. Good. Wait. Discord got up. Before you tie it, I'd like to add my own special little touch. Increase the stakes, up the ante, if you will. Discord put his finger on Fluttershy's head. Fluttershy's eyes became mesmerizing spirals of colors as Discord's magic affected her. Now, Fluttershy, some of that pleasing is no doubt going to involve swallowing some lucky guy's spooge, Discord said. So when that happens, you'll love it, and for every time you swallow it, you'll love it more the next time. Fluttershy nodded again. Discord put her shirt back on her before Sunset Shimmer did the buckle. As she said, Fluttershy's breasts shrunk down to their normal shape and size. Sunset Shimmer? Fluttershy asked, rubbing her head. What happened? You don't remember? Sunset asked, not at all surprised. No. The last hour or so, it's all blurry. Fluttershy looked at Discord. Do I know you from somewhere? Well, that happens when you have as much fun as we did. Sunset Shimmer encouraged Fluttershy, slipping her out of the knot without Fluttershy's notice. Sunset Shimmer pushed Fluttershy towards the door. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. Hey, you know how you're always trying to get donations for the animal shelter? I think you might be able to get some if you go out to the back of the school at recess for the next few days and wait. Sound good? Great, bye. Sunset shoved her out the door and closed the door behind her. Fluttershy scratched her head. She couldn't remember what she did with Sunset, and for some reason she felt compelled to obey Sunset Shimmer's request. Sunset Shimmer went into the male's bathroom in school that day. In classic tradition, she wrote graffiti on the wall instructing the boys that they could go out to the back of the school and pay a visit to Big Boobs the Busty Bimbo if they so liked. The school would probably find and clean the graffiti, but Sunset's hope was, by that point, someone would have paid her a visit and spread the news by word of mouth. It was an entire school full of teenagers. Sunset Shimmer knew someone, sooner or later, would let their curiosity and their hormones get the better of them, and they would get to see what was up. She was right. One of the students went out later that day to visit. He was a bit shy, proving unable to learn how to talk to girls, a trait which high schoolers apparently considered distinct from talking to, say, a normal human being. So, of course, he wouldn't resort to this. Hello? Hello? The kid was surprised to see Fluttershy there, waiting with an empty jar in hand. Fluttershy, what are you doing here? I'm not sure, Fluttershy admitted, tapping her chin. Sunset Shimmer told me if I stayed here, I might be able to get donations for the shelter, but I'm not sure why. No one ever comes out here. The kid looked around. He scratched his head. He supposed, he hoped, Fluttershy wouldn't mind if he asked and would keep it a secret between them. I don't suppose you would know. I'm actually here for He laughed. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but, Big Boobs the Busty Bimbo? Would you know where I can find her? Something strange happened. Fluttershy's eyes got real small, and her body became stiff as a board. Yes, she said in a stilted tone. Wait right here. Fluttershy turned and left, leaving the boy confused. Fluttershy reached up behind herself and worked on undoing the brassiere. Per Sunset's instructions, Fluttershy gasped and moaned in pleasure as she felt her breasts grow and grow and grow. They were so big, so big. They were lovely. They were beautiful. Going to a hiding spot, Fluttershy pulled out some clothes she had hidden while under Sunset's trance and worked on changing. The student was whistling, wondering when Fluttershy would come back. When she did, he went slack-jawed. Fluttershy had changed outfits from her normal wear. She was wearing a green skirt with yellow trim. long striped socks which combined with the skirt to give a teasing view of her thighs, as well as a revealing sports brassiere, showing off her humongous breasts. Fluttershy? Big Boobs chuckled. Yes, but no. I'm Big Boobs. I heard you were looking for me? The student tilted his head. Is this like some secret identity thing or something? He shook his head. Never mind, the reason I came here, I can guess why, Big Boobs said, coolly gesturing her hand across her breasts. You want these, don't you? She twirled in place, letting her breasts sway back and forth. The student stammered. Wow, I didn't know you were so busty and forward, Fluttershy. Big Boobs grunted. I told you, my name is Big Boobs. Right, sorry. The student walked up to Fluttershy, his fingers tensing up. Big Boobs presented a jar to him. Not just yet, dear. First you have to make a donation. Keep in mind, the more generous your donation, the more generous I'll be. The student sweated a little. Big Boobs' voice was so soft and sultry, it could bring the strongest of men to their knees. She went on. If you donate $5, I'll give you a little peek. For 10, I'll bounce around a little. She emphasized this by making her boobs bounce up and down, without even moving. For 20, I'll smother your face in them, and for 50 or more, I'll smother something else of yours. The student shivered and chattered, overwhelmed by the aura of raw sexuality Big Boobs was exuding. He reached into his pocket, counted some dollars, and threw them into the jar. Big Boobs looked at the jar when she was done and counted out what he donated, 2 20s and a 10. Excellent choice, Big Boobs told him, setting the jar down. She got on her knees and approached him. Shh, she said, hearing his rasping, heaving breath. It's all right. Just let me take care of you. She pulled down the zipper on his pants, letting his member poke out, already aroused from looking at Big Boobs and hearing her talk. Big Boobs' sports brassiere offered just enough exposed skin for Big Boobs to sink his member into her cleavage without having to take her dress off. Submerging his flesh inside of hers, Big Boobs bounced her namesake up and down, pleasing him with her flesh. Do you like that? She whispered. The helpless student nodded his head, paralyzed by his arousal. Big Boobs continued to juggle and jiggle her breasts on him. She put her hands on the sides of her breasts and squeezed them together, almost crushing him with her mountains. What if I do this? She asked before placing his member in her mouth while her breasts still surrounded it. She continued playing with her breasts with his equipment trapped inside. Her boobs were so soft and bouncy, almost if they were springs inside of them. Big Boobs could feel his member throb once before he screamed and orgasmed, flooding her mouth with his thick nectar. Big Boobs closed her eyes and moaned, Discord's magic taking effect. She relaxed and let his spooge push over her tongue before swallowing it down. She loved this. She needed this. After swallowing all of his orgasm, Big Boobs wanted it more, and she wanted more of it. Not even bothering to play with her breasts, she sucked on his member, dragging her tongue along it. She could hear him moan and moan, but if he said to stop, she probably wouldn't. She sucked more and more, trying to get him to relinquish his reward to her. She wanted his orgasm. She wanted his tasty, lovely spooge. She could feel him throb and pulse. He began to thrust forward, wanting it to happen almost as bad as she did. After some back and forth, Big Boobs got the idea to use her breasts again, to make it happen faster. She cupped her breasts and lifted them up, smothering his equipment. It was all he needed, as he let out a second orgasm. It was smaller and weaker than the first one, but to Big Boobs every drop was worthwhile. She loved it even more than the last time. Big Boobs let him go so they could both get a chance to breath. Mostly her, as she dropped to her hands and knees. The student, having gotten what he wanted, pulled his zipper up and left. Big Boobs' eyes filled with spirals, and her body turned the desaturated grey color associated with the effects of Discord's magic. She chuckled to herself, still reeling from the effects of magic as her stomach filled up with spooge. "Thank you for your donation," Big Boobs chuckled. "Oh, I love it so much." Now dressed in her normal garb, Fluttershy went to the animal shelter, carrying her jar, now full of cash. Fluttershy couldn't recall how she managed to get so many donations, nor did she understand why her stomach felt so warm and was so bloated, but she carried on. "Hey!" Her friend and attendant at the shelter, Treehugger, greeted her. "Fluttershy, what's up?" "I have a... Fluttershy grunted as she set the jar down on the desk. "A donation to make," she said with a smile, resting her arm on the jar. "Wow!" Treehugger looked up and down the jar. "This is like a lot of money, Fluttershy, like a lot. I think we could almost cover our costs for the next 6 months with this. How did you get it?" "See, that's the thing," Fluttershy said, looking away. "I'm not sure how I did, either, but I know this is my donation jar. Oh well. The important thing that it's here now for the animals who needs it." She pushed the jar towards Treehugger and took the jar with a smile. "Hey," Treehugger noticed Fluttershy's hanging, protruding belly. "Fluttershy, your stomach's like really bloated. Are you okay?" "Oh, I'm fine," Fluttershy said, even though she wasn't sure how true it was. "I'm sure my stomach's just disagreeing with something I ate. After I get home, I'm sure a little home remedy and a nap will fix me right up. Bye." Fluttershy and Treehugger waved as Fluttershy walked out of the shelter. As she was walking along, she saw Sunset Shimmer and she winced. "Hello, Fluttershy," Sunset said in a sultry voice, walking up to Fluttershy with a seductive sway in her hips. "Hello, Sunset Shimmer," Fluttershy said. "You know, it's the weirdest thing. I feel as though I should be avoiding you for some reason, but I can't remember what it was." "Isn't that just the way?" Sunset asked. She noticed Fluttershy's stomach hang out. My, Sunset bent over and poked Fluttershy's belly, earning her a glance. Sunset pulled herself up to full height with Fluttershy. "You certainly filled up, didn't you, Big Boobs?" Fluttershy's eyes shrunk. Her angry glare was replaced with a dopey smile as she reached for her back, meaning to undo the straps. No. Sunset Shimmer reached over and grabbed Fluttershy's arm before she did. "Not here. Not where people can see us. Come on, I know a place." Sunset Shimmer guided Fluttershy over to a secluded area where they could hide. Okay now," Sunset said. Fluttershy popped off the buttons. Her dress stretched out as she let her boobs assume that was now their true, huge size. "Sunset Shimmer," Fluttershy stammered as her transformation took effect. Fluttershy put her hands on Sunset's shoulders. Her breasts stretched and reached out, pinning Sunset Shimmer against the wall with their weight. With her hands and breasts on her like this, Fluttershy could probably crush Sunset's ribs with the weight of her breasts. But Sunset wasn't worried. She knew she had Fluttershy's Big Boobs under her complete control. "How can I use my boobs to please you?" End! That's what this is about? You doing this to me just so you can... Fuck, I punched the microphone. Fetish shit is dumb, but boobs. Alright. Not willing to risk the shirt being torn in half and needing to buy another one, Fluttershy reached... Why is that a thing? Sunset blushed. Oh, it's gonna be one of those, isn't it? So very, very big. I'm so big boobed. Okay. The student sweated a... Fuck me. Sweated a little, why don't you? The student sweated a little. Flutter... Big Boobs looked at the jar when she was done and counted out what she... Big Boobs looked at the jar when she was done and counted out what she... Fuck! Dick suck, fuck. Big Boobs looked at the jar when she was done and counted out what he has... This is defeating me, man. She continued playing with her breasts with his... What the... Oh, right, that's actually... Spoon.